Well, it came to exist through two lunches.
We had a lunch together in New York at a restaurant called I Truly.
In those days, we drank our lunch, and we were finishing off our first bottle of wine. And I said to Dave, you know, it's really a shame that these wonderful men who founded our agency, our business, our industry, are forgotten.
All of this history was going to be lost because it wasn't documented anywhere. It was all anecdotal. It was people like ourselves sitting around at lunch telling stories about the good old days.
And I said, we need to do something about it.
He says, you know, I've got this idea I've been mulling over for a long time. He says, it's like a Hall of Fame. He says, like the Baseball Hall of Fame.
And David sobered up instantaneously and said, that's a great idea. We should do it.
So he says, either we get another bottle of wine and we'll map this thing out, or let's just call it a day and, you know, it's a great lunch and I'll see you later. So we both sort of paused for a second, and then I said, let's order the wine.
And we started drinking that bottle of wine. And we both got more enthusiastic, and David said to me, go call some of your colleagues, see if they buy into the idea.
The first time I heard about the idea was at a place that I think most first ideas are discussed or heard, and that was in a restaurant. Ron said he had something really interesting to discuss with me. He put the idea of the Medical Advertising Hall of Fame on the table, literally, and I thought it was an absolutely great idea.
So, got with Dave and we said, well, let's have a meeting and form a committee and let's do this thing.
And we sat down and presented the plan, and they just said, we're in.
And we were off and running.
And that's how the Medical Advertising Agency was formed. I think the Medical Advertising Hall of Fame, its reason for being, is about other people. It's not about themselves. It's about honoring people who made this great industry.
We started to see a tone of people who in their acceptance were talking about the importance of what they did, so that the organization, in addition to honoring the founders and talking about the people who had built the industry, people were getting up with their acceptance speeches saying, you know, what we do is important. It's very important.
That's why the Hall of Fame, I think, is so very important, because it's not about an individual. It's really about people doing the right thing for the right reasons and recognizing that.
Then there was this transition to, you know, making the heritage of MAHF, you know, have longevity. And then to this next phase, when I came in with Sharon, and we took it and we created the Future Famers, because everybody felt the energy of the youth. When we actually started to recognize Future Famers, we had people coming to the dinners that were young. They were young people, they were bringing their their colleagues with them, and people got excited by the MHF again.
I think when Ron and I sat down and delved into our second bottle of wine, we had no idea that the thing would still be going after 20 years, or where it would head, or it would evolve from an organization that was honoring the industry, honoring the founders, preserving the history, to something that now provides educational resources for young talent.
So I think if the Medical Advertising Hall of Fame stands for anything, it stands for the value of the human being and the power of the human being and creative people to make a difference in the world. And we honor those people that made a difference. So I think it's that value that is so intrinsically important to the continuing success of the Medical Advertising Hall of Fame.